All right, welcome to another episode of the Nonke podcast. I've been waiting on this guest for a long time, since we first started, actually. So we have James Lee here in the building. So actually, 10 years ago, James
More
introduced...
than that, I think.
It was like 10, 12 years ago?
It's been a minute, because we are in our mid-30s today.
Yeah.
We met all each other.
You're early 20s.
You're a year older than me, I think.
And I met you before going to your brother's gym. I met you through Alex.
Yeah, Kumar.
Yeah. Which was the Soldiers flag football team.
Yeah. Yeah, so I met him through a mutual friend, Alex Kumar.
Yeah.
Did you play too back then?
Nah, I just knew Alex really well.
So the story too. Okay, so it's been like 13 years.
Yeah.
Because my wife and I have been together for 13 years.
Yeah.
Right? So around that time, that's when when I started meeting you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll get to that part. But yeah, I met Tulo because Alex was playing football with us, and we were playing volleyball. And Tulo came one day. And I'm what's up, dude? Cool, dude. Tulo's cool. He had a yellow car, right? Did you have like a yellow car or some shit?
I don't know. No.
Oh, no? Golly.
I obviously had something goofy that you remember.
I swear it was. But that's how I met Tulo. And then...
The guy with the yellow car.
I swear it was. I don't know, a while ago.
Dude, I've had so many, I probably did.
Yeah. And then... How long did you come back from the Marines?
At that time when I first met you, I probably just got back or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. I probably just got back.
It was like 2011 or something.
Yeah, I probably just came back from Africa or something.
That very same year.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. It's crazy, dude.
Were you deployed in Africa?
Yeah, I was
Stationed?
I was in Djibouti, Africa.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, for 7 months.
We never talked about your deployment.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna have to at some point.
At some point.
But yeah, James, I really wanted to have you on because you introduced us 12 years ago. I think it was we were supposed to link up to go work out.
We did.
It was I think you didn't end up coming that day.
No, we did.
Right? Okay.
I remember it clearly, dude. It was
at Highland Lifetime Fitness, right?
Yeah.
That's when I met you. Yep.
It was like in the wintertime. I swear it was like the wintertime. I want to say November or something. And Tulo and I kind of knew each other. My sister knew. Yeah. She was into bikini, right?
Yeah.
And so she was like, "Hey, you know who this Ping?" And this is when I was getting into fitness and stuff too.
Yeah.
It's like, "You know who this Ping her kid is?" I'm like, "Nah, it's like this Hmong bodybuilder dude." And so I just added you. At this point in my life, it was like I was going through this change in my life where I was just like, "Dude, I'm gonna just start adding people and linking up with people." And I'm like, and we created that Facebook page, and then that's how we kind of created this friendship. I'm like, Tulo, you want to go work out with Pang? And Tulo was like, yeah, let's do it. And we went to Highland Lifetime.
Yep.
Yeah. I think during this time you're cutting because you're getting ready for a show.
Yeah.
So now I feel bad. I didn't know nothing about bodybuilding, but I'll feel bad because I'm taking time away from your cutting.
Oh, no.
Because I know when you're cutting, it's crazy. Right?
What did we lift that day, if you can remember?
Probably legs. We probably,
it was legs.
I think I remember us squatting. Yeah.
I remember doing the leg extension, and then Pang tells me, yeah, when you hit the inner quads, you turn your toe this way.
Yeah. Dang, you have a good memory.
I have a good memory.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a special day
when
for
it matters.
He met his hero.
Maybe it was just a special
I like to
day
think
for
he
him.
met his hero that day. No.
So I was thinking about this. I'm like, dude, I'm pretty much Cupid for the both of you guys.
Yeah, you did. You did it. Yeah.
You created the no eggs.
I did.
Yeah. We gotta. Yeah. When we make it, we'll send you a little check.
Yeah. Once you get my royalties.
Yeah, once we make it in the Hmong world.
Yeah. And then also something that was something just looking back at all of us. We're all similar age, right?
Yeah.
And then at that time, when we all graduated high school, we all went different routes.
Yeah.
Because you went military, and then I went to college, and then you
I became a bum.
Yeah. And then no, but then you eventually went back to school later on.
Yeah.
And then you got your master's in teaching, right?
No, okay. No, just my bachelor's.
Okay.
But I want to get my master's by the next probably starting
very typical, very Hmong of you.
Trying to get paid, trying to get paid.
But I think that's really cool because it's three different stories, three very different paths that I think a lot of we see Hmong kids kind of following that same route, right? Yeah. Whether it's college, whether it's bumming out, for a lack of better term, or military.
Yeah, but it's a lot of times, and this is actually a good point of conversation too. That's sometimes you find out what you want to do in life or what you're gonna do in life like a little bit later, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't have to happen at like. Our parents always
Yeah.
put so much pressure that like when you turn
At
18,
18,
you're done.
yeah.
You got to know. But how are you supposed to know? And a lot
Right.
of times you don't know until like bumming out for a while and then be
Yeah.
like, oh shit, I should do
No,
something.
I know. Yeah, I know you get both of your stories, right?
Yeah.
Like Tulo was a skater kid, right?
Yeah,
Lakeville,
yeah.
grew up in Lakeville, and did you go to the Marines right away after high
Yep,
school?
yeah, right after high
Yeah.
school.
So like and then yours was like North Minneapolis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you and your wife were dating, and then you
Yeah.
went to college right after
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Mine, I was like, dude, I'm surprised when we graduated high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really?
Like during the time,
Yeah.
because I'm 2 years older than you.
Yep.
You went to high school with my brother,
Jer,
Jarrett,
yeah,
in
shout
North
out Jer.
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And I know you through Kumar, and Kumar and I went to
Yeah,
high school
yeah.
together. So it's crazy how this kind of all interconnect.
Did you graduate on time for high school?
I did.
Oh,
I did. dude.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You
thanks.
walked?
I did.
Nice.
Yeah, I had to go to summer school like right before my senior year, like all year, but it was, I guess, worth it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, and then after that, I mean, I went to college, like Century College. I didn't even know what to do. I think
Yeah.
it was like, I want to be a cop, right? I want to be a cop.
Yeah.
Dude, I went to Century and I failed like every single class the first quarter or first semester. And they're like, all right, dude, hey, if you fail again, you're gonna get suspended, right?
Yeah.
And so I took the second. So I went back the second semester, and the one class I passed with a D, and it was like one class I had failed from the previous
Yeah.
semester. So it was
Yeah.
like, holy crap, I failed eight classes, and the one class I passed was the one that I failed, and I should have passed with an A, but I passed with a D.
No, you moved
Yeah.
up a letter.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah,
You went
yeah,
from an
yeah.
F to a
Hey,
D.
progress.
Pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's progress, man.
Little
No,
progress at
and
a
in
time.
this point in my life, it was like no guidance. Like,
Yeah.
my pops had left, like us, like at my sophomore year. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? So, like I said, I'm surprised I'm gonna graduate high school.
Yeah.
Could have been breaking the cars and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, it was during that time where cars were the thing and people just
Yeah,
jacking
yeah.
cars, right?
There's
B16 swap and all
yeah.
that kind of junk.
Yeah.
So it was like, I could have been doing stuff like that, and so I'm surprised I even graduated. But I think that was a big learning lesson for me because it was like, all right, now you got suspended, right, financially, whatever. I was like, all right, now you got to work. And then I ended up working like security jobs, working like loss prevention, which is like catching shoplifters.
Yeah, yeah.
And
For
this-
who? At what
For
company?
Marshalls.
For
Yeah,
Marshalls.
Marshalls. You and I worked for the same security company.
Vikings,
Wayland.
no?
No, Wayland. Did you work for Wayland for a bit?
I feel like I just remember Vikings and Guardsmark. I might have worked for Wayland for where?
I don't know. I swear you did.
You probably did. I know. I worked with your brother. Koo. Your brother was
Yeah,
my
yeah,
boss.
that's right.
Yeah, your brother was my
That's right, that's right.
supervisor.
Garda,
Yeah.
yeah. But we were doing, I was doing security, and then I was doing loss prevention, and Crystal, which is not too far from North Minneapolis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Rough
yeah.
part of town. So it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
literally like the town right next to North Minneapolis, and it was rough, dude. And
Yeah.
I realized I don't want to be a cop.
Don't
Yeah.
wanna
Be a
deal
cop
with
is- it's
that.
just
Yeah,
a-
you have
it's
to
just
deal
a-
with this shit every day.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a bigger playground now. You
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I'm like, and my thing was always like, oh yeah, you want to change lives and all this,
Yeah.
right? You want to,
Yeah.
because I think in high school I was like, I had that mentorship from like
Yeah.
my coach, Coach Cool. Yeah, he's a teacher now too, and
Yeah,
he's
tennis?
a mentor. Tennis,
Wrest-
yeah,
wrestling.
wrestling.
tennis coach. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's a great guy. But then I'm like, like being a cop wasn't it for me.
Yeah.
And then I ended up working like in a factory. And there's nothing wrong with working in a factory.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I realized like the young folks I worked with, and like they were younger than me at that time.
Yeah.
And I was like, this ain't for me. Like there's nothing wrong with it, but it's
Right.
like this ain't for me.
Yeah.
And these kids are like because they were like younger than me, and they had like kids of their own.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like there's something else out there for me. And
Yeah.
so it was like a swift kick in the ass. Like, all right, go
Yeah.
to school.
It's a harsh reality
It
check.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
So you went back to school at what, like 23, 24?
2011.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
at age, yeah,
Yeah.
like 22.
Okay, you
So I
went back.
went back.
And
yeah.
when you went back, what did you then decide? Like, I'm gonna go for this degree. Like, what degree was
So,
that? Because by then you
right,
wiped
so
out
like
the
the-
idea
yeah.
of law enforcement. That
Right.
idea is out the window, right?
Right.
So then you say, okay, I'm going back.
Like,
Now
how
what
do
am
I
going-
figure out my major and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
What'd you go back for?
I mean, I was so stupid at the time when out of high school, I didn't even know what a major was. I didn't even
Yeah.
know what a credit was.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, you're taking 16 credits. I'm like, what the hell are credits? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what's a major, right? And so that's why I probably flunked so hard. I don't know if you remember this, but when I was like around that age, I was like, dude, I'm gonna go to the Marines. And I reached out to Tulo. I'm like, dude, I think I'm gonna go. And Tulo's
Did I
like,
tell you not to?
yeah, you told me
Okay,
not
good.
to. Yeah, Tulo's like, don't, man, don't. And so I'm like, you know what? And I listened to you, which is a great thing, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna give myself the best opportunity in school. I'm gonna give it another shot, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, looking back, I did not give myself an opportunity to succeed.
Yeah.
I think one quote from a movie somewhere, it was like, you can't label yourself as a failure if you haven't given yourself the opportunity to succeed, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I didn't give myself the best chance to do well in school.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, I'll go back, and if I really flunk out this time, and then I'll go to the Marines, right?
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like 21,
That's a
22.
good plan.
Right?
That's a
Yeah.
good plan.
I'm like,
If
give
you
yourself
fail, then go to Marines. Yeah.
Right. So, and that's how I always felt. I'm like, I suck at school. I'm just gonna go to the Marines just to have someone just think for me, and I just listen and I could. And that time I was pretty much in shape. Right.
Yeah.
I was like, I could run. I could do push-ups. Just tell me what to do. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so I'm like, I'll give it school one more chance. And so I gave it my best shot, and shit, I did pretty well. I went back to Century.
Yeah.
And I got because my grade was like a GPA was like at 1.0, something like that, something
Right.
stupid. And so got my grades up, went there for like a year, and then went to Augsburg.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That's when we knew each other then, but that's when we opened up that gym over in Psycho Susie's. Remember?
Yeah, with James. Yep.
Basement gym.
Yeah, remember that? Were you there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so went to Augsburg, and it was like, dude, I was like freaking dean's list every year, every quarter, every semester. And then how I decided on that, well, I just talked to my wife. I'm like, what should I do? I'm gonna go back because she was really very like school, right?
Yeah.
And I never was. I never got that push. Excuse me. But she was like, all right, you got to figure out what do you want to do. I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, thought of my Coach Quilla, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, work with kids. I think I'm pretty good with kids,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to become a personal trainer because I'm like, I heard, was it Fritz?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, people will run, like you meet up with people and they
Yeah.
don't show up and stuff. And that was like a personal trainer where it's like, you can meet up with people and then like they half-ass it or whatever, or they don't commit to it. So I'm like, I'm not going to be a trainer.
But I think at that point you also been working out because when we'll stay on your story, but we all met through like working out essentially.
Yeah.
That was how we
So
all
I
met.
think by that point you're 22, 23, going back to school, talking about not wanting to be a personal trainer. But by that point we've already trained with like all kinds of people.
Yeah.
So we know
Right,
that people flip flop, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to working
Trained
out.
with the best already, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we know that people flip flop. I flip flopped on you,
Yeah.
or probably you already. So
Yeah.
we know people flip flop even
Yeah.
when you're somewhat disciplined. So
Yeah.
so that was the reason behind why you were like, I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing it. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, be a personal trainer, dude. I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. Like, I have a hard time motivating myself to work out, right? So I was like, I'm not going to be responsible for all these other people. So my wife's like, yeah, maybe you should be a teacher, a PE teacher. And I'm like, I didn't even know it was a thing. I'm like, you really could be a PE teacher? And I always saw like teachers as like very intelligent people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I'm not smart enough. I was like, I'm not smart enough.
Yeah.
Like, look at me, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm like, I grew up on the east side of St. Paul. Like, got nothing going for me. I'm like, that's not meant for me. But I gave it my best, and I am because of who I am. So
So today you're a PE teacher.
I'm not a gym teacher. I'm a PE teacher.
You're a PE. At a elementary level.
At a middle school.
Middle school.
So I'm the upper
okay.
campus to your wife's school.
Okay.
So I'll talk to you later about this something later.
And
Well, it's so crazy, like hearing that you flunked out of at Century, just because like when I knew you were always so like determined.
Yeah.
I remember your time at Augsburg. Like you worked fucking hard to you were like grinding hard as fuck to do that. And I remember because we would link up and you would be like doing homework or talking about like school and stuff like that. And so like it's crazy to hear that like at some point you didn't like that you flunked out of Century and that you didn't like even like put in any effort.
That's my
because
story.
like that's not the James I knew at all. So it's so crazy.
That's part of my story. When you mentioned like earlier, you're like, you were in Marines, you went to school, and then you were looking at me like, and you were bumming, like you didn't, you felt bad. I'm like, no, that's my story. Dude. That happens to people where they're bumming around, they don't know what to do, life circumstances, whatever have you, and I'm like. And I hate to glorify like an underdog story because you get people that are successful that use your story like, hey, look at this loser, he made it, you can make it too, right? I hate when people glorify that, right? But it's like I want to tell the story. I'm like, dude, this is what I went through, and this is where I am now. Yeah. But the reason I talked about it so much when we were younger is because I'm older than you, but I looked up to you because I was like, damn, like all right, Payne's doing the school stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Payne's graduating and.
Yeah, and he's an idiot.
Yeah.
No, I thought you
No,
know.
but he always came
Yeah.
off as pretty determined person.
Yeah.
Like, even
Yeah.
when I met him early on, he always
Yeah.
came up
Yeah.
to me as like, "Hey, he knows what he wants."
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, he did know what he wanted. At the time, he's bodybuilding and he's working hard
Yeah.
at it. So
Payne is very
there's,
philosophical.
there's
so-
discipline about
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you know?
Thank you.
No, seriously,
but-
dude. We used to like,
Yeah.
we used to meet up at like at your house, your mom's house in North Minneapolis.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
like, dude,
Trained in the
I remember
basement
that-
gym.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it was a dungeon
I
down there.
remember.
It was like moldy.
Yeah, did you ever come
I
down?
never gone there, but
Oh,
I
okay, yeah,
remember
we had
about it,
mushrooms
yeah.
growing out of
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
crazy.
And then
Yeah.
the first time I went there, it was like your brother had like a big old koi pond down there.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, damn, this is awesome. This
Yeah.
That
fucking
size
stinks.
koi pond?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it stinks down there, it reeks. But man, we were working out down there. Yeah, I was
We had
like,
old
okay.
wrestling mats.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, this is cool. So I was like, this is awesome. But yeah, no, I really took a lot from you. Like, even though I'm older than you, I'm like,
Yeah.
took a lot from you too, Tulo.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you told me not to go to the Marines. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll listen to
I
this
wonder
guy.
if I would
I'll
tell you
listen
the
to-
same today. But
What
I
would you
feel
say?
like,
What would you say today?
no, I think I still would say the same. It just depends who you are as a kid. Like, some kids, I feel like they need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but at least you had the awareness to say, let me try school again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you gave yourself an plan A, plan B. If
Yeah.
school don't work out, I'll plan B.
Right.
So,
I would say the same
well,
thing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, you gave yourself options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some people that are
Like
very
that-
like anti-military,
some
but I'm like,
people would-
nah, I think some kids
Some
kinda
kids need it.
Right.
man.
Like,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
need
for sure.
Yeah.
I know I
I
needed
think
it.
yeah.
I
Too
needed
low
it.
Yeah,
needed
you
it.
talked about
This guy
that. And it
needed
did
it, yeah.
you some.
Yeah, because I was
did
just
you
a
really
skater
good.
that
Yeah.
just smoked weed, and like school was definitely not going to be in the picture.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, it was happenstance, but for me, I think I needed it. So if I met another
Yeah.
kid that was kind of like me,
Yeah.
then I'd be like, yeah, you're not gonna amount to shit. You need to go,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But then there's
I
other
agree with
people
that,
where I'm
yeah.
like, I don't know. You seem pretty. Like, I think when I met you, my initial reaction is like, you're not a bad kid or nothing. Like, I don't see
Yeah.
why you couldn't just go to school and
Yeah.
do that. You know.
Because I think you were starting to transform that
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
you're already,
like I
like,
said, I was
yeah.
going through those.
Because you
dead-end
were in
jobs,
shape
you know?
already, I think, when we met.
Dude, yeah, I think I was like working out for. I, was
I
used to be,
remember,
like,
yeah,
huge,
Yeah. Because
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
I mean,
I
I'm huge
remember you
now,
showed me
but,
those
you know,
old photos.
yeah.
Yeah. And I was like,
I remember,
you used
yeah.
to be that big? I'm like,
Yeah, yes.
I had a hard time believing
Dude,
that. Yeah.
my life, I've been like fluctuating like crazy.
Yeah.
Dude. I was been a big kid, right?
Yeah.
And then when I lost a ton of weight was wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, dude, I dropped like 50 pounds in like one season because that was the first time I ever did a sport and wrestling. You know, wrestling. That's like one of the hardest things you can do.
Love it. Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, dude! I went from like heavyweight to 215 to 189.
Yeah.
I could have dropped one more weight class. So I wrestled in the one season. The season's only about 3 months long.
Yeah.
I wrestled 4 weight classes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, that's crazy. And so out of high school, you know, bumming around, working full-time jobs, doing nothing, you gain the weight back. I'm like, damn, I need to change my life, dude. And then
Yeah.
I quit my job, took care of my mom, just caring for my mom. And I'm like, all right, I need to get back in shape because,
Yeah.
you know, when I took my mom to her dialysis, I'm like, dude, my mom's doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I got to take care of my health too.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll take like, I know your mom was going through stuff. Did she ever have
Yeah.
to
Multiple
do dialysis?
sclerosis. Yeah.
Okay, did she have to do
Uh,
that?
no dialysis.
Okay. So it was like, you'll sit there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, you know, running your blood through. And she's like, go do something for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I could use this 3 hours to go work out. I'll come back and pick you up. And
Yeah.
so I did that. And I think that was my motivator. I lost my mom last year.
Yeah.
Around
Yeah,
this time,
yeah.
a year or two. So it was like, it was a big thing for me, like, to get my health. And then it was also like, all right, let's apply that mentality to like school, right?
Right.
Like just bust your ass off and just apply it to school now. And then it kind of just worked out that way. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Yeah, that's incredible. And then kind of going back to what you had said, like I think after high school, people are still trying to figure out. Like it takes time for people to figure
Yeah.
out because
Yeah.
like I think you guys said that like you guys I seem to have always like knew it, but like I think at
Well,
the
now
time
I know
like,
that you did it.
Yeah,
because
like-
I've talked to you since.
Yeah, like-
but at the time, you did appear like
Yeah.
you knew what you wanted to do. Like you seemed the most disciplined, I would say.
Yeah, like I
out
think
of
I was just
people know.
doing what I was supposed to, but like
Yeah.
I think the reality was too like I wasn't sure what exactly what
Right.
I was gonna do. I just kind of did
what
I.
was your degree in? Wasn't it like exercise science or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I make fun
That
of
was,
it. And
but that was
gym.
fitting. That was fitting
Yeah,
for you at
yeah,
the time.
that's what I
offensive to
thought I
me,
wanted
Pam.
to do for sure.
That's
yeah.
offensive to me, Pam.
Yeah, sorry.
So people call me a gym teacher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my first lesson of the day,
Yeah.
I'm not a gym teacher. I'm a PE teacher. Gym is a
Physical
place.
education.
Gym is a place.
Sorry.
PE is what we learn about.
Yeah.
So
And sorry, I shit on my gym degree
Yeah.
a lot on the podcast.
it's funny. Exercise science is actually really hard, dude.
Yeah.
Because my classes over
Yeah.
PE, like the classes overlap with exercise
Yeah.
science. I'm like, holy crap, this is a lot of
Yeah,
number
because it's
crunching.
biology.
What was
pretty much,
your? Is it kinesiology or what
No,
was it?
my degree?
Yeah.
Physical education.
Physical
Yeah.
education. okay.
Yeah. So my classes were like exercise science, and then like just the education classes, and
Oh,
also
sure.
like PE stuff.
Kind of
So it was like
together.
it was like that.
Okay, it's like
Yeah.
a
It
was great, though.
a
I
teaching
think-
program, but also
Yeah.
involved with
Yeah.
With
It was
biology,
great
yeah.
though. I loved it. Augsburg was a small college, so it was good for me to really get to know my classmates and my teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, because I remember you working super hard. I remember when you graduated, dude, I was so happy for you.
Yeah.
And then you started teaching. I was like, yeah, it's super fitting
yeah,
for you.
What's crazy because Tula was like, oh, the typical Asian thing. I'm like, dude, no, man.
Yeah.
Like I wish like. When I was like 21, 22, you see all your high school classmates like graduating,
Yeah.
getting married, buying houses, getting the job. I'm like, I wish I had that. I wish I was
Yeah.
a typical Hmong kid. But I saw Peng as like that typical Hmong kid.
Yeah.
Graduated, well, played sports, like very
Yeah.
likable dude.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like went straight to college, graduate. And I'm like, damn, like all right, I'm gonna like draw some inspiration from this dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
I wish I had that typical Asian kid
Yeah.
lifestyle. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it was it's so crazy, like, and like how our paths, like how we met up,
Yeah.
like the different paths we took, and then even kind of seeing where we're at now. Like you're a business
Yeah, they're all
owner.
different.
I'm trying to start my farm. You're
You
teaching.
are starting. You're trying to start.
Yeah.
You've
You
been
know,
on this-
we're getting things going slowly.
I
We're
love
still
it.
at its
I
early
love seeing all your
stages.
stuff, man.
Yeah.
I've seen you grow like through all these years. And Tulo too. I've seen Tulo
Yeah.
grow, and
Yeah.
it's been crazy, man.
Yeah,
But
but
it's the same for you. We watch you too. Like I was like,
Yeah.
he's a teacher. No, he's a PE teacher. But it's fitting for me when I watch where you are now as a PE teacher. It's kind of fitting too because I'm like, okay, well, when I first met you, you really like obviously losing weight at that time. I could tell you made a big impact on just you. And then you started big on bodybuilding. So like you are stuck in that world already.
Yeah.
And then I mean, I don't know that I ever saw you like hang around kids, but I just always felt like you would be good at that because you have a presence, like your personality has a presence.
yeah.
So I'm like, okay,
You
that's
give off
pretty
teacher
fitting.
vibes.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I
So
think,
it's like a good fitting place for you to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
I think that's how I kind of decided on my major
Yeah.
too. Like, what
Yeah.
am I good at? Shit, I've been an uncle since I was 5. Like, we have like a huge family. Like, I have 12 siblings, right?
Yeah.
And I was like on the younger end.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I was been pretty decent with kids. I do like mentoring kids. I appreciate when I had mentors in my life.
Yeah.
And I felt like because of my mentors in my life, I didn't do dumb shit.
Yeah, it
I
helped
did
you,
dumb
yeah.
shit, but not as
Right.
bad, right?
Yeah.
But imagine if I didn't have those mentors, like I
Right.
would have done really.
And those were
different
your
things.
teachers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then usually teachers that look like you, right? Like I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
my coach Quill's like, all right, maybe I'll
Among
take
teachers.
that, recycle that into the universe and be like, now I'm like, hey, all these kids see you. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, that dude looks like me. He can be successful.
Right.
Like maybe I can do the same thing,
Right.
right? And so, and I want these kids to know, like, dude, I didn't have that story of like the typical Asian story
Yeah.
where my
Right.
parents were like supporting me the whole way. It was like, dude, I should live kind of a tough life, and
Yeah.
this is what I'm going through, and you might be going through the same thing, and you just got to believe and work hard, and
Yeah.
you know, and you can have more than this someday. You know what I mean? So,
Because you've been teaching for how long now?
this is my 7th year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Wow.
started.
Goes
I-
quick.
Yeah, it does. It does. I wanted to do high school.
Yeah.
But I started at elementary.
So-
I never thought I would
Yeah.
do elementary. Elementary, I did great at.
Yeah.
And so now I do middle school. This is my 2nd year of middle
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
And I did high school for like 1 day of summer school. I'm like, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
So I'm
you
like,
got
it's
some-
crazy
yeah.
that I wanted high
Bad
school.
kids, yeah.
And I'm like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And so now, you know, I worked at elementary for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then now I'm at middle school. It's awesome right now. And
Yeah.
I thought middle school would be my last.
The
Yeah.
most annoying
yeah.
kids, maybe.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now it's like super fun because they're still like excited about learning, even though they tell you they're not because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But it's like they're excited about learning,
Yeah.
and you can tell them what to do now.
Yeah.
Right. Little kids, like, it's crazy to think about it now. I used to get like 24-year-olds to listen to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's
Yeah.
like, I can't imagine. Like now it's like, how the heck did I get like 24-year-olds to listen to
Yeah.
me and do what I asked them?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been
And so,
crazy, man.
have you seen like some of your kids now? Like, did your first set of kids like are they graduated already?
So
yeah, they're
it's,
probably high school.
like-
it's fun because like it's funny because like the school that I worked at, it was like they're kind of interconnected. So there's it's a St. Paul public school, and it's our Hmong program. So your wife is a part of the program
Yep,
too.
yep.
Yeah.
So like my 7th graders now, I've known since 1st grade.
Yeah.
And my
That's
sixth grader,
incredible. Yeah.
my sixth
Yeah.
graders are like my kindergartners, and like I'm like I said, those are my day ones because
Yeah.
those are my first kindergartners
Yeah.
in my first year teaching, and like now like going through the system, like it's crazy. I've known you since you were like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
and
and
now you're like
watching them grow
13.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because like we're like this Hmong focused school, and it's
Yeah.
like man, we are really like a Hmong village because it's like
Yeah.
it's like they see you as like their aunts and uncles.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
like, and it's funny because they'll be like, "Hey," I go by Mr. James or Seafood James, and they'll be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, Uncle James." I'm like, and they'll catch themselves, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's great because for you to just instinctively think that it's because we have this relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, I look at them like my nieces and nephews too.
Yeah.
Because I have nieces and nephews that age. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So super fun, man.
Which means, it means that they won't be afraid. I mean, some will always look at you as a teacher, even
Yeah.
if you're Hmong, and they're just like, you're
Yeah.
my teacher. That's how
Yeah.
I look at
Yeah.
the world, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
why I was such a bad kid. But some
Yeah.
of them are more, can look at you as like, you're almost like an uncle,
Yeah.
and you're just doing your job. But
Yeah.
I can come to you and reach out to you.
Yeah.
And my wife talks about this all the time, too, because she's a 5th grade teacher at it's a Hmong school.
Yeah.
So it's always
They're lower campus to us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we work with them. So.
Yeah, so she always talks about like just being a teacher around Hmong kids, like how it impacts her. Like I always
Yeah.
ask her that, right? I'm always curious, like how does it impact you to work with kids that look like our nieces and nephews?
Yeah.
And she says like it's just good because it bridges a gap where you see them grow up, you know their parents. Sometimes you know the parent, you're friends with like
yeah,
their
yeah. Yep.
you're friends
Yeah.
with like
Yep,
their
it's true.
parents
Yeah.
are like your old friends,
Yep.
like
High school friends,
And
yep.
so like
Yeah.
there's more at stake, right? We're raising them together almost in a
Right,
way.
right.
It's true.
And also she always says they're pretty good at listening for the most
Would-
part
Yeah, yeah.
versus
Yeah.
versus some other kids.
No. Well, when I did elementary, it was like Hmong focus, but you had like the general. So kids go there and be like, hey, I just want to take the general
Yeah.
route,
Okay.
or the Hmong focus
Hmong
part,
route,
right?
yeah.
The Hmong immersion part. And so I had like being a PE teacher, I was a specialist, so I saw everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
And so this is in Frogtown, so you had a
I
lot
remember that,
Yeah,
yeah.
you had
Yeah.
a huge Somali population, huge African American population, Hispanic. It was like very diverse in terms of minorities.
Yeah.
Not very diverse in terms of white people. Like we
Yeah,
had
yeah.
like 2 white kids.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. But I love that too. Like my Hmong is awesome. There's that that bias because it's like you are Hmong and you have that understanding of each other's background. But dude, I love my students that were non-Hmong.
Yeah.
It was so fun because you still have that minority representation.
Yeah,
To be like,
Yeah.
right.
To be like, oh, that's my teacher, and he's
Yeah.
is not a white person.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right? Because us growing up, we always had like a white teacher, and when we
Yeah.
had a person of color, it was like, oh man, this is like exciting
It's
because
a different teacher.
because you already know they're coming from a different lens, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
very similar to you, and like they explain things in a way that you may understand better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I mean, not to say like all white teachers are like that, but I mean there are white teachers that are very understanding of cultural differences, right? So, but it was awesome to have like non-Hmong students, and now I have all Hmong students, which is fun because you have that It's important to have representation. I'm like, I do miss like having like my non-Hmong students too,
Yeah.
because it was like it
Yeah.
was something because it helped me learn
Yeah,
more
you
about other
learn,
cultures too.
you
you know what I
learn
mean?
more too, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, having all Hmong students, would you
Mostly
s-
Hmong, mostly
or-
Hmong.
yeah.
We have Karen students too, which is
Yeah.
like Karen students remind us of us in the
Yeah,
90s.
yeah.
And then
Yeah,
we
yeah,
do have
yeah,
African American
100%.
students and
Yeah.
Latino students too.
Yeah.
So
Well, having like majority Hmong students, like, would you say like, and because the community is so small, would you
Yeah.
say that's like it puts on like a different? Would you say it's like more difficult? Is there an added pressure just because maybe you might like? Is there an added pressure to see them succeed, or to push them, or to push them to like, I don't know. Well, here, because I used to be involved in youth work.
Yeah.
Right? I was very involved in
Yeah.
youth work, but I always found myself really hard on some of the Hmong kids because you'd kind of go, hey, Naya Hmong, like you're supposed to know this shit, like get your shit together. So there was like I always felt like there was I was unfairly kind of harder on my Hmong kids. Like, do you feel that as a teacher, like, and as
Like a bias in how you do
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
You mentioned that. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I do. I am harder on my home kids. Like
Yeah.
when they get in trouble, I'm like, dude. Like I use certain words. I don't use profanity.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah.
I do talk to them different. I'm like, dude, what are you guys doing? You guys are looking like
Yeah.
really not
Yeah.
really smart right now, dude.
Yeah.
You know, so I am a little bit, but it's like, but it's a bias that I'm aware of too. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Sure.
like, but I'm like, well, if it was any kid, I probably get on them like the same way
Yeah.
too. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I know you have potential, and you're slipping up, and you're probably acting stupid or
Yeah,
something, right?
yeah.
But I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because you mentioned that. I remember you invited me and Ku out for that youth program out in it was in North Minneapolis, right? Jordan. It used to be called.
Jordan Park. Yeah.
Yeah, so we came out there and ran like a Muay Thai thing.
Yep.
This is like my last year at Century College. I was going to Augsburg.
Yep.
This is my memory working right.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
Holy
You
shoot,
don't.
yeah, you remember-
Paying,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
what- paying
I-
and two. This is what happens. You don't
yeah.
smoke weed, guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
take a lesson from this bum over here. No. Yeah, we came out there and we did
Too
it.
late.
Yeah.
Too
I've already
late.
lost
He's
all
already
my
done his
friends.
damage.
Too late.
Yeah, it says that's I learned the whole community thing from you too, Ping, and
Yeah.
I was like, dang man, this guy's really involved in his community. And then, man, dude, things changed where like I seen you grow, where it was like
Yeah.
you ended up working in corporate,
Yeah.
right? And you're just like, fuck the
Yeah,
community.
that's kind of
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
that
I'm
you went to
like-
corporate
I'm
because
like,
that's totally
what
not-
happened to you,
Yeah.
Ping?
Because yeah,
Like,
you do that
Yeah.
work long enough,
Yeah.
and then like, because financially it's tough.
It's youth
Work is
It
and
doesn't-
then
yeah, it doesn't pay the
because you're
bills,
just driven by
honestly, yeah.
passion, and
Yeah.
then you do all this work and all this effort into like you put all that
Yeah.
into young people, and then you realize there are like things that stop or prevent you.
Yeah.
That's like not kid related, and then it's just kind of like bureaucracy,
Yeah.
and then like you just kind of go, oh man, like. You're kind of working against the system,
Right.
right? Or the system's working. You
Working
feel like the
against- yeah.
system's working against you, and so you're just kind of like, man, fuck that.
And then you're
you
the
know?
one. You're the one that's like pretty much holding it all together, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Your job is the frontline job, and you have like all these people pulling you a certain way.
Yeah.
And then when something goes
and then
wrong,
there's no support on you
there's-
either.
Yeah,
like,
and then there's
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of blame to throw on you too.
Yeah.
And it's like easy to throw you under the bus, and you're just like, why the hell am I even here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you look at the kids, and you're just like, man, these kids are really good, and they don't deserve this. You know, like,
Yeah.
and I'm the person that should be in this position because, like I said, representation really matters,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's why I believe. And I was like, dude, if there's anyone suited for this job to be here, it's probably
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So it's like you go through this moral like
Yeah.
battle
Yeah.
between yourself. And so I'd never talk to Ping about that. You know, I'll message you, and then
Yeah.
every once in a while I'm like, man. And you're just saying this funny, like you're
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
you're not
Yeah,
being
yeah.
like serious about it.
Yeah.
It's just like you're.
But I remember
Yeah.
specifically saying that.
yeah,
to you.
yeah. So I'm like, man, what happened? Am I here? Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't
You know-
never meet your heroes.
Yeah, never
guys.
meet your heroes.
Yeah,
No. But I'm like, I seen what you went through, and then you started working for corporate.
yeah,
Do that for a couple years, right? You were starting your family.
Yeah.
And then now you're a farmer. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, this guy's just like, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah.
and I love it. I'm like, dude, the thing is like when you do something, you go on 100.
yeah.
Or the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
Ping says it, 100. You know, he does a
Yeah.
100. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm
Gotta
like,
add a little twang to it.
dude, that
Yeah.
north side, man, north side
Yeah.
Minneapolis twang,
Yeah.
you know? And so, no, it's just,
But
it's-
yeah, like it is my intention to at some point return to it. Like that's why like right
Yeah.
now, like it's very important, especially with the farm. Is like we
Yeah.
go into like schools,
do.
Yeah.
bring our beef.
I gotta
get you in.
I gotta get you in.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's my true passion
Yeah.
is working with young people. Even nowadays,
Yeah.
like I still see like some of the young kids that I've worked with. They're like adults now, and
Yeah.
I just see them at like random places,
Right.
and I'm like, you see them, and you get to talk to them, see how like life has like
Yeah.
affected them, good or bad.
Right. And
you
you're hoping
just-
for the best. Like you're
Yeah,
hoping for
yeah.
like, dude, I just hope you like don't end up on the news for something bad, right?
Yeah.
Like I hope to like read about you in the newspaper that you did something
Yeah.
awesome. You know
and,
what I mean?
And it's wonderful like to hear some of their stories and just to kind of see how things kind of turned out. Like I don't think I've actually ever said this, but Lauren, my daughter's name is Lauren,
Yeah,
my oldest
yeah.
daughter. That was named, like, I got that name actually from one of my students. One of my favorite students. Her name was Lauren. She was like a dope ass kid, like super cool. And I was just like, oh. And then I didn't like intend it, but then at some point, when I had the kid, I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna name her Lauren. And then
Yeah.
you know, after putting two and two together, I was like, oh yeah, I think that's where some of that came, or where that name originated from. But,
Barbara had no say in it then.
she was beat. She was tired at that. Yeah, after giving
was
giving
unconscious,
birth,
so-
she
Y'all
was just
came up
kind of
with,
like.
you came up with the name after y'all gave birth? That first-
Yeah,
your
because
first-
we couldn't
your daughter?
decide. We
Oh,
couldn't
really?
decide. And then once she gave birth, she was just like, all right, you just decide. I can't right now. I can't think right now. But
Things
speaking
like
of that,
perfect.
you
Just like
just
my
recently
plan.
became
Yeah.
a father too.
I did, bro.
Look
It's
at you,
crazy.
man. So your
crazy.
kid is 4 months old now.
She's turned 4 months in like 2 days or something.
Yeah. How's that process been?
It's nuts, man. Yeah, I want to talk about the whole parenthood thing too. I've
Yeah.
heard you mention some. A
Yeah,
few
yeah,
things.
yeah.
I don't want to dive
We
too
went
much.
through something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that,
And I don't want to dive too much into that if you don't want to, but I'm willing to share about that. It's like, so we were trying for probably a couple of years. You know, as
Yeah, I remember
as you
that,
know,
yeah.
like people our age are struggling having kids,
Yep.
right? It's
I don't know if it's the food or what happened,
yeah,
but yeah.
I wanted to talk about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you know, my wife did some tests, and they're like, "Yeah, you're fine." And obviously, being a guy, and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, nothing's wrong with me," you know, nothing,
Yeah, yeah.
everything's working,
Yeah.
you know. And then I'm like, "All right, well, we'll go in and test everything out, and then, you know, you send your sample in, and they send the results back, and it was like, yeah, you're kind of low on, you know, this and this and this, like." It's like morphology, so it's like the shape of the
Yeah.
the
Shape,
what's-
volume.
Yeah.
yeah, volume, all that stuff, right? And so I'm like, and they were like, yeah, it's not like super low, but it's like on the right there teetering.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, when you go in and put in the samples, it could change like day by day, dude.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
one day
yeah.
could be like,
Right,
and then one day
right.
could be like super low.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, man, maybe I need some steroids. And I'm
Yeah.
No,
I got you, man.
yeah. No, and so I'm like, oh man, I guess I am the problem. I went in and
Yeah.
spoke with my doctor, and I was like, yeah, you know, it's like this. I've noticed, doc, you know, this is really common in like people our age now. Like, I don't remember this being a problem before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they were just like, yeah, it could be to industrialization, you know, all the
Yeah.
chemicals. I'm like, okay, so he was just like saying like that could be it, right?
Right.
Could be stress. Like nowadays, is like it's.
Yeah.
I feel like now is like more stressful than like. I mean,
yeah.
I think every era of time has got their own stressors, you know. But
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, dude, I think stress is a big factor. It's just work.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, you know, industrialization, the things
Yeah.
we eat, right?
Right.
All the processed foods that we
Yeah.
eat. So he's
All
like,
the
yeah, it could be
chemicals,
that. And so,
But he doesn't sound like he was a doctor who really questioned himself about that too much. huh?
yeah, but he was a really good
'Cause-
doctor. But he's like,
Yeah.
it could be
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
could be that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what doctors say. Could
yeah.
be that.
But
Yeah.
it's like, he'll just like, yeah, there are some studies that said this, say
Right,
this,
Yeah.
right? But they can't.
I think they have to be careful to not actually
Yeah.
make any.
like,
Unless
yes, it's
they-
100%.
claims.
Yeah, I'd be like, it's
Unless they're
100%,
lead
yeah.
researchers
Yeah.
into the project. Yeah.
Right. They can't
Yeah.
be like, this is 100%
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, it could be that. And so I got put on, he's like, yeah, take these,
Yeah, you were telling me
these
you.
pills, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like some, I forgot what it was. It was a CoQ10.
Well, and
Oh,
what
okay.
was what
Yeah,
was
it's
the
like-
purpose
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that med? Is it to like?
It's just-
how does it work to give you
I'm
like
not
a
sure, but
better
apparently-
sperm?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's supposed to like help with that or something, you know. And
Yeah.
man, you know, I wanted to talk about this. I knew we were going to talk about this today too, and I know it's tough to talk about this, especially when it's like a guy problem. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, James is not a real man, right? He's
No,
not.
yeah.
He's shooting blanks over.
But
here.
it's
like-
important,
it's-
and
it is
so
important,
many
yeah.
people,
It's an
Some people-
honest
in our
discussion.
age,
Yeah.
because
Like I said, yeah, people.
I know so many people. Like
Right.
I have so many friends. I have friends like that are currently going through IVF,
Yeah.
older
Yeah,
and
yeah.
younger than all of us.
Yep.
And so like, but it's you don't hear about it enough,
Right.
or speaking publicly, and
Right.
I think it's for that reason because,
Yeah.
like you said, it's
There's a
just
stigma behind this. There's
Yeah.
especially being in the home community. You know what I mean? There's like,
Right.
oh, you know, like don't dollar or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you know, do all this stuff. You know, I'm like, and I've heard a lot of things that people
Yeah.
do. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
that is weird. And so, you know, I'm speaking about it, but it's because maybe it's because I'm on the other end of the tunnel now,
Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
like, well, I had a kid, now I can talk about it.
No, but you
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
But during that time, I didn't want to
correct.
speak
So
about it.
so I made a post on Facebook
Yeah.
that was asking about.
IVF or something. or-
Yeah, the topic was IVF. I don't
Yeah.
remember what I was asking, but it was about IVF, just because we're going through our own
Yeah.
trying to have a kid. And then you expressed that you replied and you
Yeah.
expressed that you were talking about it,
Yeah.
just like you said now, being on the
Yeah.
other side of it. But you said that you had a hard time speaking out about it prior.
Yeah. While you're in the midst of it.
Yeah,
right?
when
Yeah.
in the midst of it, and Yeah, I don't know. For me, I've never had a problem with it because I think if you judge me on that, first of all, screw yourself. Go screw yourself. If you judge me on that, like, yo, come on, man. Like, you ain't perfect, you know?
I commend you on that for coming out and speak about something so sensitive, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it is important.
But it's real. It is what it is.
Like I said, it's so common now. And the doc was like, yeah, it's just not like a United States thing. It's like a worldwide thing.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, so, no, I commend you on that. But I know it's like, it's just not you, right? It's like you and your partner's situation. So it's like you also want to respect your partner's wishes on it. So it's just kind of hard
I didn't think enough about
it. Yeah. So
I just made it because I was like, I need some resources right now.
No, you're going through a lot of things.
Yeah, I need some resources right now. Which I will say came plentiful. Like hella people messaged me with like, hey, you should do this. Look into this. This is what we did. And so like I knew that from making that post is like by you being open. Like my mom gave me shit one time for saying, "Why do you share so much stuff online?" And I would always say, "Well, if I'm not afraid of the judgment that's going to come back, I know that some people will judge, and that's going to happen regardless. But the people that will reach back are the people that either have struggled with it already, or they're on the other side of it, and so they're going to give me like real resources.
Right. Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. You know,
I couldn't message you privately, but I'm like, you know what, Tulo's brave enough to come out and say this, and I wanted to put it out there too, like a public comment.
Yeah,
be
like, people
hey,
are going through it too.
I went through this, and like I said, maybe it's because I went through the storm, and now I do have a kid, right? Yeah. So, but just put that out there. It's really common now, and definitely get yourself checked out. It's just not like a woman thing. It's like, us dudes need to get ourselves checked out too, because we were living through like some crazy times, man. Yeah. And so definitely get that.
Yeah, there's a lot more science to it. Like I think we forget to think about just how intricate the whole thing is, right? Like, oh, it's easy. A sperm fertilizes an egg, and it goes into the uterus, and then it implants and grows. Like
so much is happening in that process.
Yeah, the concept is easy, but all the odds for it to actually happen are...
Yeah, you're like, wait, teenage pregnancies are at a high. It should be easy for me, right?
That's the thing that bothers... Yeah, that's one thing that bothered me a lot, because when I was firefighting, I'd go to so many houses where, inner city, so I'd go to so many houses where you got 21-year-old mom on the fourth kid, and you're like, yo, what the... Yeah, man, y'all you over here popping babies like left and right, not even take care of anybody, and then you feel like you're doing what you can for society, right? You're becoming a fireman, you're in the military. I mean, these are things that are you just playing they're in your own head. But you say, well, how can I do all these things, and then like, what is it about that I need to change that will make me have the ability to have a child when these people are just freaking popping kids left and right?
Yeah,
so that does piss you off. Like I'm kind of. At the beginning, I was just like, we got time. Yeah. Now I'm turning 36 this year. Yeah. My wife is older than I. Now the stress is finally settling in. But at the same time, I'm still accepting of what it is. Like I can't do anything further other than keep seeing the doctors, keep talking to people that have been through it. Yeah. So it's just going through the process. But it's definitely a thing that, and when I brought it up, that's when I realized that, like, in the Hmong community, and everybody, right? But in the Hmong community of our generation, it's way more common than like people talk about.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy.
Everybody's that like you will find somebody who's gone through IVF.
Yeah, and
more than likely, there's somebody in your life, that or somebody in your circle that is probably dealing with that right now.
I'll say they have more people than that. Yeah. Like you mentioned, like our folks didn't have a problem with this at all, man. No. Like I said, my mom and dad, there's like 12, 13 of us.
But I don't know. I think I challenged that idea too, just because like there are like Hmong medicines for that, right? Yeah. Like there's like people. People do spiritual callings to help them have babies.
Well, I'm at the point where like if
medicinal,
y'all got that shaman plug, hit them up. Then like I need anything right now.
If they had that, or if they had treatments for it. It also was an issue, right? Or maybe it wasn't as large of an issue, or maybe it didn't happen as frequent. Yeah. But it definitely, I think it definitely was an issue, and that's one of those things where it wasn't talked about.
Not to say it'd be like, that spiritual stuff. Not to say that. Maybe that stuff did work, right? But think about it. We're one generation removed from like our parents being farmers, right? Yeah. Never seen like any kind of electronic device, right? So I think about the whole industrialization thing, where now
Yeah.
all of a sudden we just flip the switch, where it's like,
100%.
Oh, yeah.
boom, we're in the United States,
Yeah.
and now we're exposed to all these like toxins or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like maybe that.
Well,
is
and then
screw
you
with
get
us.
older and you realize like the power of capitalism behind
Yeah.
everything that you consume, right?
Right.
So ain't nobody coming out with these apples for the sake of making a healthy apple.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
coming out with the nicest, crispest,
Right.
reddest apple so that people will buy,
Yeah.
and it'll make somebody rich,
Regardless
and
if
regardless of the,
the health-
consequence.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And yeah,
all,
and
all
we
the
almost have
honey
to
at
watch.
the store
This is
is
all
made
conspiracy
in China.
theory.
Yeah, now we're
This is all-
becoming-
now we're
Yeah,
becoming a
yeah.
For
conspiracy
somebody who
channel.
doesn't smoke marijuana, you sure sound like you
Yeah.
might have smoked it once or twice. I'm just kidding.
It's that second hand when I was in
Yeah,
that dungeon
yeah.
with this guy. That's why.
No, yeah, it's true, and it's the IVF topic or the
Yeah.
inability to have children is a very serious topic that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through it now.
Yeah.
It's
Hey, I'm
yeah,
down.
and you went through it. Now
Yeah.
you're on the other side.
It was like a short phase,
Yeah.
honestly. It was just like I'm glad.
Yeah.
It was like whoa, like, and we weren't even trying
Yeah.
necessarily, but all of a sudden it was like, dude, we're pregnant. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So it's
I've heard so
great.
many different things. Some
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh yeah, I know some families that they didn't have kids, but then they adopted one, and then right after they
Yeah.
adopted, it changed
Yeah.
Yeah.
it changed their chemistry, and then they had
Right.
one."
Yeah.
Or
Right.
yeah, somebody just stopped trying, and then it happened.
Well,
They're
yeah.
like,
Well,
or
ours
you got to
was-
go on more dates, or
ours-
like all
ours
kinds
is
of.
weird in a good way because, like I said, my mom passed away just
Yeah.
last February, and like, dude, literally like 3 days after.
Oh,
her
that's
funeral,
right. That's when
yeah,
you found out that
She-
you guys were pregnant right after
Yeah,
your mom
my wife
passed.
was like,
right?
"Yo, I'm pregnant." I'm like, holy crap!
Like a reincarnation type thing almost.
Possibly,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
because my family, like last year, like my sister knew
Yeah,
had a
yeah, yeah,
kid,
'cause
my
she had a
brother
kid too.
had her kid, my two nieces had a kid, my younger brother had.
Oh, that's
his
right.
kid.
Your niece and Coos kid.
Yeah, and Kuz kid, that was like 2 years before,
Oh, that
right?
was 2 years before already.
It was like a year, or so, no, a year before, I think.
Okay.
But like,
Yeah, everything,
like,
all kinds of things flourished.
Yeah, last year.
Out
So
of
like,
sadness, yeah.
last year it was like 5 boys in her family
Dang.
were born, and then my girl was the last
Yeah.
one born, and it was a girl, and it was like. It's kind of weird how that worked, right? We talk
Right.
about all the spiritual stuff. I'm like, maybe it's because
Something
like,
really
a
sad
blessing from
caused
my
a
mom.
lot
No,
of.
well, maybe it was a blessing, right?
Yeah,
from
maybe.
my mom or something.
Yeah.
And I like to believe that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy to be like, all right, how do we have all 5 boys, and all of a sudden we were the last one we had a girl? You know what I mean?
Are you guys
So-
is your family Christian or shamans?
So we grew up a shaman. My dad was a shaman.
okay. Oh, your
So
dad was like an actual shaman?
He was
Oh, for
actual
real?
shaman, yeah. And
Okay.
so, like, my family is shaman, but my wife, she's Christian.
Okay.
And so I've converted to Christianity.
Okay,
too.
okay.
So I'm Christian. So I guess you could say our family's shaman by default.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
My older siblings, especially the boys, are like more traditional in that
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
But like the younger, the younger boys are like, they're like atheists, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
officially, but they're just like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're
yeah,
on the they're
yeah, you guys
on the
wanna-
fence with everything. Yeah.
They're just like whatever. Like they don't practice it, but it
Yeah.
was like, hey, we're doing a spirit calling. Yeah, I'll come over and
Right,
whatever.
right.
And the thing is like, yeah, I'll still go and like do stuff,
Yeah.
but it's like if you guys are doing like a spiritual water spinning thing on yourselves, like go ahead. Like it's you guys. Like I
Yeah,
respect
yeah,
it. I get it. I grew up in that.
But I mean,
I'm
you
like,
got a big old family, so when you
Yeah.
got 12 people, not everybody's gonna be the.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
So yeah, my household, my wife and I were Christian, but everyone
Yeah.
else is like either like either shaman or just like non-religious.
yeah, for sure.
Because you grew up Christian, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and so at
You-
some point I just kind of decided not to go anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the right choice or not, but it's going
Yeah,
through a weird
yeah.
phase.
Yeah, no, I remember talking to you
Yeah.
about that a
Yeah.
while back ago too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you grew up Christian. You grew up in France, so they don't have.
Yeah. I grew up pothead.
Yeah, did you grow up like shaman or?
We're traditional. Yeah, you could say shaman, but we were around no Hmong people, so really, Kite is the
like-
extent of the things
Yeah.
that I saw.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Like
you guys
I,
didn't do like a whole unnamed thing.
nope,
with-
I never
yeah.
saw that till I moved to America.
Really?
Yeah, and then I
Okay.
was like, what the?
Yeah.
What is going on? Why they got papers on their doors and
Yeah, yeah.
all that shit to me was like brand new when
Yeah.
I was about 12.
So how about now? Are you still practicing that, or are you just like?
Nah, man, I'd like to say I'm just like, yeah, man, pothead. You're in
Pothead?
the middle. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in the middle. I'm open to
Would you
everything.
consider you atheist then, or?
No, because I think, well, I used to say that, but
Right.
then I looked it up, and I think
Yeah.
atheists, you have to be like really
Yeah.
like
committed.
Yeah, really committed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
You have to be committed to like, no, this doesn't exist. So I'm
Tulo's
not
like,
that.
man, that's just another religion.
yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not that. I'm just
Yeah.
in the middle of them all,
Yeah.
and I will gladly
Just
learn.
living life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
learn and
Yeah.
listen to every
Yeah.
single one of them, and respect that every single one.
Yeah.
So long as it gives you guidance in life and makes
Yeah.
you a good person, and you need it, then great. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not my place to judge what you do. You know. So
Yeah.
no.
Because I thought about like as a father now. I talked about this on the pod already, but like I'm considering joining a congregation now, just because like I
Yeah.
knew how much of an influence that was for me and Barb, because Barb
Yeah.
grew up in the church too,
Yeah.
and so how big that was for us growing up, and
Yeah.
like essentially like that early development and just kind of guiding our lives.
Yeah.
So I thought about joining a congregation now, just so that my kids can have that, and then if they make a decision later on to no longer continue,
Yeah.
or then that'll be on
They can
them.
make
But
that
like
choice,
I don't
yeah.
want to rob, I don't want to rob them of that experience too,
Yeah.
because that was definitely beneficial for me and my wife.
Yeah.
And we, even though me and my wife are very different people, like we have a lot of the same core values, and I think
Yeah.
that
Faith,
stems
right?
from
I agree, yeah.
that stems from like our
Right.
our time in the church, like
Right.
Being brought up.
No,
in the
it's,
church
it's true
early
because
on.
like I said, I'm shaman. Like grew up shaman,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife grew up being Christian. But when we met each other, it's like we actually have very similar beliefs
Yeah,
about
yeah.
how we should live life. Right. I think that's the important thing, like how we live life.
yeah,
Yeah.
Not necessarily when you die, what's going to happen. It's
Right.
more like, well, how should we live life as,
Yeah.
as human
Yeah,
beings?
yeah.
And I think that's the question.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like I think one of the things why I was like, dude, I'm become a Christian is because definitely like think about your kids and your family.
yeah,
I'm like, I saw the kids at church. I'm like, I would want this for myself. I
Yeah.
want my kids to have this, to be
Yeah.
like they're really, really sweet kids.
yeah.
And
And
they
there's
have
a
all
sense
these-
of community.
Yeah.
there.
And they have all these
Yeah.
experiences. And it's just like, okay, like, I think I want my kid to grow up around this. Cause,
Yeah.
and not to say that all people that go are shaman do this, but when I saw it in my family, it was like, you're around a table, you're drinking, there's beers everywhere, kids are running around,
Yeah.
like, and these kids are over here like trying to smoke in the back. Like I was a
Yeah.
kid trying to smoke in the back,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
So I'm like,
yeah.
oh crap, I don't want that for my kid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and especially now, like I think, especially in our generation, as we have moved away from like, like
Yeah.
your like the because with people like your families do your funeral, right? And
Yeah.
relatives like they get together and they hold these big events for you, weddings and stuff like that. And so because like I didn't grow up, my father left at a young age, like
Right.
so I don't have that connection with her side like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I think in order to get that sense of community again, like I think the one route is to join a congregation. And so that you have this like
cathedral,
support
right, from
structure
the church,
that can help you with,
Yeah.
do these things.
Yeah.
And so I think like that's I think that's I mean, and we've talked about this too, like because like shoot, when I die, I don't know who's gonna do my funeral. I don't even know if I'm
Yeah.
gonna go to a monk funeral.
Me too got you, man.
Yeah,
Me too
you know,
got you.
I'm,
bro.
yeah,
I
I'm just
think
call.
by
I'm
then
gonna
some-
call up the homies and
I
be like,
think someone
yo.
by then will have written the manual on how to do
Yeah,
it.
but then
I can read
like
instructions.
I think that's why like it's important
Yeah.
to have these like these communities.
Yeah.
But like and because like I think more and more Hmong kids are growing up less and less traditional,
Right.
And then everyone's kind of living their own life.
Yeah.
Like so then they're not as connected,
Right.
And so I think and as I get older, I'm starting to think about more of this
Yeah.
stuff, and so
Yeah, these conversations definitely don't sound like our conversations 10 years ago. I'll say that much.
yeah.
Last year,
We
well,
sound like
10
some
years
old
ago.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
10 years ago, it was like,
We're talking.
yo, what kind of supplements you
yeah,
taking?
yeah,
man?
yeah,
What-
exactly.
Yeah. I had a couple things. I'm like, all right, so I've been talking to Ping about this for probably like a year or so, like about trying to get me on this, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you should get on. I'm like, yeah, we'll see, man, we'll
Yeah.
see. And so within the last month, Ping reached out. He's like, dude, you should come on. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I'm like, damn, what am I gonna talk about? What are some things that I have on my mind? And I do listen to you guys.
Yeah.
So I am a
Thank you.
subscriber.
Yeah.
Thank you. We need that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love it. It's just like, man, it's to see because Ping has a great voice, so I'm like,
I
I
don't
love
know
listening.
about
And
that.
Tulo's got like good questions. Like, you guys do a really good job of like complimenting each other.
Yeah.
So I'll listen to you guys doing yard work, man. Like, I'll finish the podcast, and like, I'll finish yard work, and be like, gonna pretend like I'm doing something in the yard still, and like I'll
Yeah,
listen to the next
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
So like my wife is like, "Oh man, he's working harder out there." I'm like over here pretending like I'm doing stuff.
He's
Hopefully
folding leaves. And
Yeah,
stuff.
he's like raking leaves, but like blowing the pile and raking it again or
Yeah.
something. So I'm like, no. I was like, man, what am I gonna talk about when I come here? So one thing was like being a teacher, right?
Yeah.
I think being a dad, and it's crazy hard, man.
Yeah.
Dang, I don't know how you do it, dude.
You know, you eventually figure it out. You know, that's the one thing about like being in a couple in a long, like being married, right? We're all older married guys. Like you're always constantly relearning how to be a husband, right?
Yeah.
And same thing with fatherhood. You're always constantly relearning, and
You make it look easy. You make it
I
look
don't know.
easy and
That's
fun.
a lot of great editing,
Dude, no, seriously.
Yeah,
I
everything
look,
up- yeah.
all my friends are, especially girl dads too.
Yeah.
And then like for me, I didn't care if I had a boy or girl. Especially when you get older,
Yeah.
you're like, all right,
Yeah, you
like
just
whatever
just
comes
want
my way,
child,
like
child.
Yeah.
kids are kids, right? Kids are kids,
Yeah.
right? But I look at girl dads in particular. I'm like, man, Peng's a great girl dad
Yeah.
to two girls. And I'm looking like my buddy Chufeng, he's a great dad to his girl. And then
Yeah.
like James Vang, I was like,
Yeah.
dang, these
Dad of 5 now.
yeah, dad of 5, but
yeah.
he has that girl, and I was
Yeah.
like, dude, if I could be like half as good as you guys, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm struggling over here, and then
No.
I'm like I'm a person that needs sleep too, so it's like it's tough.
Oh, yeah.
No, and here's what maybe I'm definitely guilty of this, right? I think we romanticize what parenting is, but like it's really not. You know, I think like a lot of the pictures that we post, it's like really nice photos, or and then
All
we're
the good
taking
moments,
videos,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But then the reality is like, like we're just as clueless as you
Yeah.
guys, and
It's not to scare you away too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But-
the reality, dude,
No,
it's
I
like
think it's
Yeah.
periodical too, because you said your daughter is 4 months
She's 4
old.
months,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
he's going through like and you know you
Yeah.
can speak on it best out of the three of us because you have daughters who, Lauren is 5.
5, yep.
Yeah, so you've seen kind of like the evolution of the child too.
Yeah.
and you haven't even seen the teenagers yet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would assume that at 4 months it's by like just okay. Let's go back to you when you had Lauren at 4 months old.
Oh, yeah,
right?
it's scary. Yeah.
So you're probably like, dude, I need to sleep. Like
Yep.
you're equally as
Yeah.
what James is going through right now.
Oh,
you
100%. And like that's why I said like I think like I said, I'm guilty of romanticizing it.
Yeah.
But like it's tough, and you can only read so many books, you can only ask
Yeah.
so many questions.
Some point
But
you just go
like
through it.
you're just figuring it out as you go.
as long as they're
know.
getting fed,
As
and
long as they're
the
not-
Yeah,
diets are
yeah.
changed.
As long
Yeah,
as
And
you're-
the thing is, the
meeting
great
their
thing
needs.
about it is like they are resilient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot, and I want to be careful when I say this, but it takes a lot to like mess them up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or to and not to say that like we can't accidentally
You know,
traumatize
you
them
can never
or cause
do
any
it
kind of,
like there's no perfect. Like
Yeah.
perfect is not a word
Yeah.
that exists in how to raise
Yeah.
a child. Like you could do everything right, and you still got to be honest enough to know that it could turn out bad.
Yeah.
Honestly,
and-
having
yeah.
a kid, like I think the thing that scared me the most was like the infant stage and like the
Oh, yeah.
before 5 year stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm like, wait, I taught like
Yeah,
pre-K
you're
years,
used
to
kids,
4-year-olds.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm like I teach middle schoolers. I
Yep.
can do that. My wife's a mental health therapist too. You know,
Yeah.
so she's like she at a college, so she deals with young people. I'm like, oh, I think you and I would be fine. But dude, the infant stage, like we hadn't
Yeah.
like not
Yeah.
much experience in that except like our nieces and nephews. But now like you got a baby with you like
Yeah.
24/7. It's a struggle,
yeah.
man.
The only
And-
thing I recommend is like just spend as much time with them as
Yeah.
possible, skin to skin. Just
That's what you
know.
mentioned. Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah, like you said, I got plenty of skin going around.
Oh
so,
yeah, yeah. Like that's like my favorite thing to do is like
Yeah.
we just like
keep that
sleep
intimacy
naked,
of,
and then
like,
we're just
being
like
a parent, yeah.
just having that contact and just
Yeah.
spending time with them. I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's like the most important thing is like and trying not to be so gone, and that's something I'm dealing with right now. Is like I'm always so busy and
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I feel bad coming here. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
It's a bit tough to do, right? Because your ambition is to do well for yourself, but you know that it's not for yourself. Like
Yeah.
you doing well means that kicks back down the
Right,
chain
and you
to,
create
to your
opportunities.
family.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
I remember you guys talking about this one of your episodes. But Tulo's like, yeah, having a kid, like maybe that will motivate you more for your
Yeah,
kid. Like, hell no, Tulo. That is a false no.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it's it depends who you are.
Yeah.
I think it depends
I
who
feel
you
like
are.
for me, that'd be like, if I'm pretty motivated
Yeah.
as it is today, I just think if you put a challenge in front of me, I'd be
Yeah.
like,
Or you
All
just
right.
say, let me drop everything and just sit here.
That's true
Yeah.
too.
You know,
yeah, that's true too.
Like,
Let
screw
me
it, my
not
business
do
not
That
working.
anything.
could definitely
yeah.
happen
Now,
as well.
I want
Yeah.
to talk because I know
50-50.
your wife, and she's a teacher, and it's like being a teacher is guy's own
Yeah,
stress,
yeah.
right? The nice thing is that you have your summers. I don't know if your wife takes her summer off.
Yep.
But she does. She gets those nice 3 months. She get her
Yeah.
winter breaks or her spring breaks or whatever. But if you have stressful jobs, dude, it's hard. Like, cause like I said, my wife's a mental health therapist out of college.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy shit.
Yeah.
And then I'm at, a teacher in a school, and it's like, dude, it gets stressful, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I see kids all day, and then I'll come home with my baby, and it's like I love her, but it's like it's just the stress, right?
Well, there's
yeah,
a
that's
reason
a
I
lot,
left
yeah.
firefighting because when I was projecting
Yeah.
where my life would go,
That is a stressful job.
yeah, and I was like, yo, that job is pretty stressful, and I don't think my family deserves to pay for
Right.
my inability to be in the moment because
Right.
I just saw somebody hang themselves
Yeah.
6 hours prior, and
Yeah,
now I
yeah,
come
yeah.
back and I'm like trying to daddy mode, but
Yeah.
I know that my energy's already on the low.
Yeah.
It's already low. So firefighting was one of those jobs where like same
is that,
thing, right?
Is
I
that
wanna
more
help you.
stressful than this job? Than your business?
Probably different, right?
Yeah,
just
exactly.
different.
Exactly,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
different. Just different because so quickly is firefighting, stressful jobs, stressful situations, long hours,
Traumatic stuff.
traumatic stuff, but your pay's pretty solid. So
Yeah.
on the financial side, you're like, I'm good,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Flip it the other way around. Now it's like, okay, now I'm in charge of my life. I have freedom. I can do things that I want. But this thing is not gonna move the needle unless I move this needle.
Yeah.
And I took like an $80,000-$90,000 pay cut
Yeah, yeah.
instantly.
Yeah.
So, are they stressful? Yeah, they're both stressful, but in different ways.
Yeah.
But I definitely left fire because I was projecting as to what I don't, because same like you said, spending time with your kids is everything, right? Because
Yeah.
once they turn 17, 18, some might stay, but some will also
Yeah.
be like, I'm out of here,
Man,
bro.
when they turn
Yeah.
5, they don't want to hang out with
Yeah,
you already,
exactly.
man.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
saw that. They
don't wanna
heartbreaking.
hang out
with you.
They're already like, I need my alone time, Dad.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
oh, man.
So I knew that like firefighting, I did
Yeah.
the math, and it was simple. I just did the math. Okay, 10 days a month, 24-hour shifts.
Yeah.
Multiply that for another 21 years before I retire. It equaled to like almost 7 years total being gone. And I'm
Yeah.
like, bro,
Yeah.
for 80
That's-
grand,
yeah.
nah, it ain't enough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, for if you want me gone for 7 years and the rest of my life,
Yeah.
time is the only thing that we never get back, and it's
Yeah.
the most valuable thing in the world. If you're not gonna pay me at least like $350,000-$400,000,
Yeah.
I ain't doing it. You
Yeah.
know?
I think when you think about these like careers and stuff, right? And like young people that may be listening to this, it's like,
Yeah.
how do you make that decision for yourself? I think the most important thing is like, I think you gotta get to know yourself.
Yep,
Right.
it's your values.
Like, yeah, it's about like before you like decide to look into your career, it's like, dude, you gotta know yourself. What are you willing to give up, or what are you willing to endure?
Yeah.
Right. And so, like my younger brother, he's a firefighter. Right.
Yeah.
And then like my best friend's a cop, my brother-in-law's a cop,
Mm-hmm.
and they love their job, and they have kids. Like they have like 3-4 kids, and I'm like, dude, I don't know if I could do that, but like go
Yeah.
go to days of work, probably working 12+ hour shifts.
Yeah.
And like seeing some crazy stuff, and then I'll come home and be a parent. I'm like, dude, I can't even do that being a teacher and hearing about like my students like struggling in life, and come home and be like, man, I feel so bad for this kid. This kid's so good. And it's not even as bad as like seeing a kid or like hanging himself, right?
Yeah.
Like that's some really traumatic stuff. And like now it's like I can't like knowing my stress level, like my tolerance
Yeah.
for stress is like, dude,
Right.
like I don't do
Which
well
took
with
you
stress.
a long time to learn what your own
Yeah.
tolerance level was, right?
For sure,
Yeah.
man. But now it's like I can handle it better.
Yeah.
You know, it is fun, and you know, try to look at the joyful side of my job, and then come home and it's exhausting
Yeah.
as heck. But
Well, your job is we're coming up on an hour here, and
Yeah,
we're getting
sorry.
closer to where
Yeah.
we are. No, not to stop you,
Yeah.
but I just want to say before this podcast is over, like
Yeah.
your job as a teacher, my wife is a teacher.
Yeah.
I have immense respect for teachers, especially if I can narrow it down even more, inner city
Yeah,
teachers, because and you don't have to say nothing because you're still in the profession. I work with the public as a firefighter. I'm no longer doing that, so
Yeah,
I will
so you can say
openly
whatever the hell you want.
exactly.
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
openly speak.
Fuck the community.
No, not the community. Fuck the politicians
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
people that
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
the people that do these jobs, because
that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, I don't know
because
what, yeah,
the politicians, and they have their own mission, right? They're like their own company, and they have their
Yeah.
own mission. So they'll say what they have to say.
yeah,
But the only people that pay are the people at the bottom, which is
Right.
Yeah.
the students and the teachers.
Right.
and I just see what my wife goes through and how involved and how emotionally attached they are to wanting to better the kids. And I only want to assume that most teachers are like that. I know that just like firefighters, there are some teachers that after a while just are part of the system, go to work, get paid, and disconnect. I can understand that as well because you involve yourself too much and you wear yourself down thin as well. So I get that too. But I give all my credit to teachers because politicians ain't doing shit to help teachers and pay.
I think
my
first 2 years, like I wanted to quit after my first 2 years because I was like, oh man, these kids are too much. My third year I came back, it was like completely changed because I think I grew as a professional, you know? So I was like, I can manage that better. But after that, it was like, oh man, now it's like the adult issues. And I never wanted to be like a teacher that had to deal with adult problems.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather deal with kids and talk to them adult. I think one thing I learned from Peng was like, it's easier to like raise young people than fix broken men or something like that. Yeah, so I'm like, I totally agree with that. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to deal with these adult problems. Now we are.
It's hard though, right? Because, and I've talked to you about some of these things privately. It's hard because we want to go in with that young, neutral heart of we're going to do what's right for just the people. And then you get in and you start learning about the politics and you realize like there really are strongholds that I have no control over.
Right.
And that's when you have to really ask yourself deep down, am I doing this for the kids and at what cost? And firefighting for me got to a point where I was like, the politicians ain't here for me. We're the ones going into the house on fire. We're the ones taking all the trauma, PTSD, and y'all ain't doing shit for us. And you keep saying you do, but you don't. But then they'll take a picture of you, first month firefighter, and use it for their benefit. And I was like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna be selfish in this case. I'm gonna bail out.
Is it though? Is it selfish though? You know what I mean? I don't think it is. Like I think that's the thing where it's like I think being in the public eye, these public jobs, you know. It's always like there's a moral
That's
dilemma.
how your coworkers will make you feel.
That's only like not even your coworkers, just the job profession and society make you feel like, what, you're not here for the kids? It's like, I am, dude. I come every day to work for these kids.
There, right?
And they'd be like, well, you got your summers and your spring. Like the way I feel like teaching this is like a sprint. Like when the school year starts, it's like bam, 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 bam. You're sprinting and then you get the summer and it's like, now you can breathe. And then it's like, you breathe for like 2 seconds, but then there's a lot of summer stuff you have to do too. Classes you have to take, trainings you do. And then maybe even second job you do, right? So it's like it's just like a sprint, and it's like I don't want to talk about the politics too much, but it's like dude, it does influence you, and it's like the people that are putting in the work are the ones that are just taking it.
I think when you're year 1 through 4, maybe in that range, you don't see it as much. I think when you definitely get to year 5 and 10, you definitely do. And then I think when you get past 10, it's just a question of, do I hang around here because it's all I know and this is what I do?
And I've been here for this long.
Exactly.
I got all my benefits.
I'm pensioned already. I'm invested.
It's true,
Or do I bounce? And I don't expect everybody to say I'm going to bounce. I was only able to do it because by happenstance, I created a business that gave me that door. Right?
How many years? How many years for
I did 9 with the fire department. I did 9. So I was pretty vested already.
That was like 5 years.
Yeah, I was pretty vested in already, but I'm kind of like Peng where, I do what my heart tells me a lot. Sometimes it's not the smartest thing, but I'm passion driven much more than I am by like logic sometimes. So that's just how I operate, and I accept that. But
I've seen that with both of you guys. So you guys have this passion. You guys just go off on it. You guys do an amazing job at it too.
It makes us also switch things too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, man,
it makes
I'm not happy here. Well, at some point you gotta be happy with something, bro.
And it's tough now. Is like as husbands now, we drag our significant others through it. Because my wife is like, oh, what are you gonna do now? Like. What's the next thing you're gonna do?
It takes a while to also get old enough and to understand that those are your personal traits, right? That's something that you have to understand after a while. Like, oh yeah, I'm kind of that type of person.
It's crazy. I think it's the difference between like us is like, even though I think the similarity is like whatever you do, you do, like you put all your heart into it. Like for me, I'm like, dude, I just want things to be like normal every day. You know what I mean? Like for you guys, are you willing to change stuff up? I'm like, dude, I can't do that, man. I need consistency.
Right or wrong. It's just whatever is your personality, it's your genetic, your DNA.
Another thing was like, dude, if teaching wouldn't work out for me, I would not mind sitting in an office in a cubicle all day. And I always thought about Peng. I'm like,
it's always greener on the other side.
I'm like, I know Peng wouldn't want to do it, but like for me, like I said, I felt like I was never meant to be in my position as a teacher or just to graduate or even make it here, in life. I'm like, dude, if I could sit in a cubicle all day, I'd be fine by that and be a weekend warrior, and that'd be awesome.
My wife is like that.
Some people don't mind that. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I mean, sure, if you pay somebody 150K just to do remote work, which
Dude,
some of
I'm
my
not even saying
friends do.
150K, man. I'm like, dude, just give me like something so I can just like survive
Yeah.
and live a mediocre life. I'm cool, man. I'll be like a weekend warrior, and that's I'll be happy with that, you know.
Because me and my wife, we fought a lot about that. 'Cause
Yeah.
she was like, "Why can't you just be okay with the job?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"I can't. Like,
Yeah.
I can't just sit there.
Yeah.
And
No,
I can't look at
But
this."
dude,
yeah.
my wife and I are different because we're like, dude, our jobs are really demanding where it takes a lot of emotional strain on you.
Emotional energy.
And it's like, was it smart for both of us to have these jobs like that kind of dive into the same kind of issues, you know? And I'm like, dude, let's just go into IT. And we're not freaking tech savvy at all. I was like, let's just go to IT or something. But I don't know.
Yeah, it takes a lot of mental awareness.
Yeah.
That's why I give you props, though. Yeah, because
props
you're
don't
out
pay
there.
the bills, Bang.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's why I left. That's why I left.
Yeah.
And that's adulthood in a shell, right?
Yeah.
And adulthood is deciding between sometimes the decisions are financial.
Yeah.
Pieces of you are still like a teenager where you have a lot of passion behind things.
Yeah.
And being an adult now that we're all in our 30s and we've known each other for almost like 15 years is we're realizing that now that like nothing's changed. We're like the same people that we were like in 2010.
Yeah.
But we went different routes, and then we're still questioning shit, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like it changed. It's not like, I didn't get to 35. Oh no, I know what I'm doing. Like, nah, bro, I feel the same as back then. It's just that I have more experience though.
Right.
Like I've done different jobs enough to know myself, what I like, what I dislike.
Yeah.
But I still don't feel like I know
I remember
what
having
I'm doing. You know?
I remember back then, like paying us, we'll have dinner, like my wife and you and your wife, and we'll have dinner, and I'll just like pick Peng's brain sometime, and I'm just like, man, maybe, fuck the community, you know what I mean? I'm like, fuck that, bro. I was
you
like,
keep saying that, man. You make me sound
that's
bad.
I swear, like that's one of the quotes. But I know you're just like,
I've said that a
you're just
lot.
joking.
I've said that a lot.
But
to
no,
you.
you've done so much though. You've done so much for like your youth programs and
Yeah.
stuff. But I think my point was like trying to figure out like what's the point of like. Is it the money you follow? Is it their passion? Like,
I think that's
like,
always
what
a
is
hard
it,
question.
man? Like, and then I remember one thing I said to you was like, dude, I just want to get paid enough where you can go to Target and buy something and not have to check your account to see if you're negative dollars. You know what I mean? Like that was one thing I always wanted. And like, I'm like, I guess I'm kind of there. I still do like make sure I have money, but I'm like, I can go in and buy baby formula and be like, it's all right, you know. But it's a weird time to be like middle. Are we middle age?
Yeah, pretty
30?
much. I mean, we're
I'm
like we'll
34,
definitely
you're
full-grown
36,
adults.
You're 32, so it's like.
I mean, you guys are dads, so
Yeah.
I mean, we're there.
I think we're there. But we still are like I always say we're in that happy middle right now where we're like can still connect with the 20-year-olds. But we can also think like a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old. Maybe not quite as wise, but sometimes wiser. Sometimes wiser. Sometimes wiser than the guys that I meet.
Because we're not stuck in our ways yet.
Yeah.
You give us 10
We're
years,
not
then we'll
stuck
be
in our
like
ways
stuck in
yet.
our ways.
Right.
But it's just going through life,
It's
just like people listening.
It's so cool to like I said in the beginning, we all took different routes. Where we're all at now, and it's great that we still can connect and sit down with each other 10 years later.
But it's funny that like through our life we overlap so much too. Like we overlapped like a lot at Warman, right?
So
I remember I was training
areas.
like when we first started over at Columbia Heights, like Tulo was there a couple times, and then Tulo left, and then I was there, and then Peng was
I remember James
here
used
and
to
there.
beat me up.
I beat both of you guys up actually. So like, I know you guys been asking like who would win between Peng or Tulo. I'm like, if someone's gonna answer that, I think it's the guy that beat both of you guys up, right?
Oh, man.
So I was
Stop
weighing
it.
this out, and so I was like, all right, looking at the tail of the tape, I'm like, okay, Peng's from North Minneapolis. Tulo's from the mean streets of Lakeville. We got an Eagle Scout, we got a Marine, bodybuilder and a skater. You know, so I'd say you pretty much evenly matched. So my final verdict would be a double knockout.
I think so.
I think it'd be a double knockout.
We almost saw that too.
I get the belts Mondays and Fridays.
I just want to take a picture with the belt.
Was that fun though? Was that fun? Like, dude, we used to like when we were in college trying to figure out life out. We're gonna go work out, and then it's like, all right, we're gonna do like kickboxing, Muay Thai and stuff, and it's like. And they just like go up and beat each other up, and now we're like a little bit older. But you guys still look like you guys still got it, man.
I don't
If
know.
we just went more often, it'd come back. But I think we just have other goals now, right?
Yeah,
We just,
I just don't.
No, you
I
guys-
just
stages
don't
of life.
care
Yeah,
as
I
much. I
agree.
don't have that dog.
No,
in me.
I think I
Yeah.
stopped a couple. Like I think the first years when we kind of knew each other, I went for like a good 2 years.
Yeah.
And after that, when schools got more serious, started getting a job, and I'm like, all right, I can't be limping around now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I gotta
yeah.
get paid. You gotta pay these bills.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I was like, I think my knee got kicked one time, and I was like, my knee's not been the same.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I'm like, no, it wasn't.
No.
me. No.
I'm just trying to take credit. For
Yeah,
it.
just trying to, yeah. And then I'm like, man, looking at your strengths, I'm like, Tulo's got a lot of cardio. Tulo's got
Yeah.
really good cardio. Peng's like, dude, Peng's got like good power.
I'm
Like,
just dumb.
You're strong. dude.
I just take a hit.
You know what
too.
the best thing you
the
got?
thing keeps
Yeah.
going.
You know your
That's
best.
hard to deal
your
with.
teeps. Your teeps are.
Yeah.
Remember you told me it's like,
Oh,
dude, my
yeah,
teeps
yeah.
are like a leg press. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
You're leg pressing them, so you got really good teeps, and Tulo's got like just cardio. So I think if
Yeah.
Tulo just like outlast you,
Yeah.
he's got you. But if you get him like
Yeah.
one good
Well,
hit,
We
you're
put
good.
out those tapes, but I think there was another video.
No, I'd say
where I think you got the
nah,
better
man,
of me.
hey,
Yeah.
it's like Koo say, right? Koo's
Yeah.
our coach, right? Koo
Yeah.
said, if it was a boxing match, maybe
Oh, yeah,
I'd take
yeah,
it. If
yeah.
it was a Muay Thai fight, you take it. So there
Yeah.
you go. It's 50-50 on
Yeah.
both sides. But yeah,
Thank you, man. Thank you,
Yeah,
James, for
thanks,
coming
James.
in. This has been
Uh,
exciting. Like
a lot
we-
of catching up. So if you
Yeah.
guys, I guess what you guys got out of this podcast is maybe just stay good friends with your friends, you know?
Yeah.
We don't have to talk every day.
Yeah.
Shit, we really don't.
Yeah.
But when we see
maybe
each
once a
other,
year.
nothing changes.
Yeah.
And if you're like in your early 20s listening, you know, some friends will come, some friends will go. But I think the ones that are meant to still be in your life, they hang around,
Yeah.
even if you don't see them very much.
Yeah.
And I also encourage you, if you're younger, to just pay attention to what your friends are still doing
Yeah.
and celebrate their success, right?
Yeah.
And they'll celebrate yours in return too. So, and yeah, and if you're 40 and crusty and grumpy, then
It's
you
not
know,
too
they
late.
still got
Changes,
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
You
still,
still
got
got time.
friends. Even
Yeah.
old timers still got friends. So,
Yeah.
but James, yeah, just thank you very much for coming. Thank you
course,
for bringing
man.
your perspective. I like this conversation. It was it's professional about our jobs. You know, we touched on IVF, which is a very serious issue as well. And then we just kind of talked about
Just
how
like
we
our
change as
coming of
people.
age, and
yeah.
I think that's really
It's
like
kind of
relatable.
interesting talk.
Yeah.
Anything you want to plug? Anything that you want to
Nah, I got
credit? You want to
nothing.
say hi to your students? Anything
Nah,
before
nah.
we head out?
No, definitely. Support your teachers. Right now, some
Yeah.
serious stuff happening in St. Paul. I don't want to talk about it too much.
Yeah.
You know, definitely support your teachers. You know,
Y'all going on strike? The news says you might be.
Yeah. So you guys seen that? Yeah. So I
the
think they
news
voted-
said it already.
They voted yes.
Yeah,
so
the, news,
we'll,
the news already said it.
we'll see what happens, man. We'll see
Yeah.
what happens. But definitely, like as parents, you know, as a teacher, it's like, dude, just support your teachers. You know, being there.
Yeah.
Your teachers spend like, you know, the whole day with like
Yeah.
40 some kids at a time.
Yeah.
Like, to just go in there and be like, hey, you need something? Like,
Yeah.
hey, my kid being a jerk or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just being
Yeah.
there. Because I think most teachers have your best, you know, the best intent for your kids
Yeah.
and just talk to them. Because like I said, like for me, I just wanted to be that teacher. I had some time just kind of, you know, recycle that positivity out into the universe. And hopefully those kids grow up and they don't have to
Do
be
the
a teacher,
same, right?
but
Yeah.
if they could go out there and just influence another kid or, you know, that's all that matters. So,
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
yeah, for sure.
Beautiful.
All
Thanks,
right, man.
James.
Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
James. Yep.